Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth, the curly-haired country gal. I'm guessing that you're interested in raising meat rabbits, maybe because you've heard they're a great source of meat, or you can raise them inexpensively, or they're really easy to take care of. Well, I had the immense pleasure of teaming up with Lorella from Plan B Homestead, Donna from Fantail Valley Homestead, Megan from Living the Height Life, Victoria from Dreamweaver's Homestead, and Charity, who doesn't have a YouTube channel, but she's passionate about holistic treatment and feeding of rabbits. So I highly suggest that you check out all of their channels. They have some awesome stuff going on, and we've got all your questions answered, or at least a lot of them.
This is going to be discussing a ton of stuff.
Let's do this thing. So in this 8-video series, we're going to talk all about rabbits, from breeding all the way to your kitchen table. In this first video, we're going to start at ground zero and answer 3 basic questions. And stick around to the end of this video because many of you from the Meat Rabbit groups on Facebook and other places gave me some beautiful pictures of your rabbits, and so I'll give some more examples of what some of these breeds look like at the end. First up, let's hear from our guests about why they're raising meat rabbits.
My husband can't eat chicken. So we started looking around for easily renewable meat sources, and we came upon meat rabbits. Meat rabbits are great because they don't cost much to raise.
You could feed them entirely for free if you are willing to put in that input.
So anybody who is looking for a low budget way to provide meat for their family, I highly recommend you look into meat rabbit.
Easy to care for.
They're pretty easy, they're quiet. You can even keep them in a backyard in a city. And they process really easily. So for us, it's a win-win.
Rabbits are super sustainable.
We homestead to be more self-sustainable, and our meat rabbits are a major portion of that.
We started raising rabbits because we were looking for a sustainable source of meat that we could raise ourselves that didn't involve getting my brother-in-law or my father to come and shoot anything bigger. So it was something that we could process ourselves, that were sort of accessible and easy for us to look after.
Large litter sizes, quick gestation periods.
Also, you get a phenomenal amount of meat out of a rabbit by the time you include all their grow outs and how many times they breed a year.
They provide so much meat for our family.
Their feed to conversion ratio is really high. In fact, it's much higher than even cattle. So the amount of food you put into them, you get way more meat out, proportionate to a cattle beast. Friends and family that we served it to thought it was chicken. They couldn't tell the difference. The texture is a little firmer than a chicken, but very similar.
Not to mention the fact of their fertilizer being a cold manure.
Their manure doesn't have to be composted. It can go directly from their behinds onto your plants with no time in between. I mean, you wouldn't put it on the plants. You'd put it on the ground near your plants, and it'll just compost itself right into the ground. It's a fantastic fertilizer.
This helps build our soil up so that everything on our property is healthier. Our trees are healthier, our grasses are healthier, our weeds are healthier, you know, all sorts of things.
You can put it in a bucket with some water, let it soak up, and then water your plants with that, what's called rabbit manure tea, and it makes a fantastic fertilizer for your garden.
I can't imagine having our homestead without the rabbits because, I mean, fertilizer alone, let alone the fact of pelts, which comes in handy for mittens and anything like that that you might be interested in.
And just being in control of their lifestyle and how they die, how they live, has always been important to me.
I'm still pretty new in the meat rabbit journey, but a lot of the reasons that these women listed are why I'm interested in rabbits too. The fertilizer potential, the huge meat potential, and the fact that you can do it for free if you're willing to put the work into it. Second, we're going to hear from Lorella, Megan, and Victoria about what breeds they have and why.
I raise New Zealand's and New Zealand Californian Cross. This is a little blue New Zealand, and he is my newest addition to our rabbit family. Say hey, buddy. Say hey. He's so pretty. He's not quite ready to breed yet, but hopefully soon.
So down here in the south, we get awfully hot and awfully humid. Yes, and we are off-grid with no AC, so it can be a little tricky. But our rabbits are also off-grid with no AC. So thinking about different breeds that work well in our heat is very important for us here on our homestead. Tamook rabbits are fantastic for heat resistance, They are great commercial meat rabbits. That is what they were originally bred for at Texas A&M University, which is where their name comes from. And they are bred to be commercial meat rabbits that are heat resistant. Now, after our Tamook rabbit, we also have a New Zealand buck. He is a fairly large rabbit, which is why we have him. New Zealand rabbits are another commercial meat rabbit breed. And then additionally, we have our Rex does. The Rex rabbits are a little on the smaller size. They are more of a medium-sized rabbit, but their fur is what they are known for. So Rex have like a double layer pelt that is perfect if you're wanting to save hides for tanning or for future clothing making, blanket making, whatever you want to do with them. So those are the 3 rabbits we have here on our homestead. I crossbreed our rabbits to get a better line that fits our needs. I am after rabbits that do well in our heat, that have a beautiful pelt that I can save, and that survive well on an all-forage diet. That is our main goals, on top of course, being disease resistant.
We have Flemish Giants, New Zealand's, Lionheads, and Rex, as well as crosses for those. When sometimes people ask me about starter breeds, I will typically say Rex or New Zealand. This is Garfield. And Garfield likes to be very, very friendly. Rex is a mid-sized breed. They're a little bit easy to manage, especially if you want pelt colors. There's 19 colors-ish. Of course, you can be mixing and matching. I love rabbit genetics. I did a whole series on that, so that's a whole other beast. They have good litter sizes, production, good for pelts. We'll still produce that fertilizer for you, but the Rex is a little bit more docile. The New Zealand's can be a bit jumpy.
Now, where I live, you find a lot of meat mutt rabbits, and these can also be a great place to start. That's where I'm starting. I didn't want to do a huge investment right up front, and from what I heard from Donna and Charity, and I think also Megan mentioned it as well, maybe even more important than the breed of rabbit is what you breed them for. And so this is something that I haven't done yet, and I'm gonna need to be diving into eventually, but it's not all in the breed. You can look at a certain breed that you have as you raise them up and notice. Of course, Megan will tell you to go for the biggest and the fattest ones, obviously, because you're raising meat rabbits, but also look for those ones that are hardy against diseases and more resistant, and those are definitely the ones that you're going to want to breed. And so as you breed them, you get a rabbit that's more and more hardy and suited to your area. Now, Victoria, Donna, and Megan are going to answer the last question of the video, which is, when you're going to buy rabbits, what should you look for? And we have 7 tips for things to look for. Here you go.
Whenever people are telling me, well, where do I get rabbits, or how do I do it? You can go to the Arbor website if you were looking for pedigreed rabbits, so that you know the history of your rabbit and kind of go through. It does have a list of breeders. There's a ton of rabbitries that have Facebook pages that are very informative and display their rabbitry. We have one as well. One thing I do encourage people to ask, no matter where you get your rabbits, is have you handled your rabbits? How do you raise? If you're getting rabbits from someone that isn't aligning with how you plan to raise your rabbits, that might not work. Rabbits that are used to eating a certain way or being housed a certain way, and then you go and flip it, you can create a lot of stress in that animal and have a lot of problems. For example, if you buy a rabbit from somebody who is on grid with air conditioning in a rabbit barn, feeding pellets, and then you just bring home that rabbit and you are off grid raising them outside with just a fan or just shade, and you want to feed a forage diet, that is going to be way too rapid of a change for that rabbit. That is going to be problematic for you.
When you are looking to buy rabbits, you need to know obviously what gender they are, and what kind of food they've been on.
What are they feeding that rabbit? For us, we feed an all-forage, homegrown, fresh diet, or food that I have dried from fresh.
Rabbits are quite prone to a gut shock if you move them from one diet to another too quickly, and they will die very quickly if they get an upset tummy. So it's really good to get some of the food that the rabbits have been on and slowly wean them onto what you're planning on feeding them. You also need to ask if they've been vaccinated, and if so, what for, and when they last were, whether they've been sick or unwell recently. Obviously, just look at the rabbit, see if they are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, got clean ears, their claws aren't too long, that their tail ends nice and clean. Make sure that they don't have any marks. They get them down their wrists. from Pastorella if they've been wiping their noses. You can see them on their wrists often. You can ask if they have any problems with what's it called? Nest box eye, which is usually a Pastorella infection.
You want to talk to the breeder you're buying them from. Ask them what size their rabbits get by 8 weeks. If they don't know what size their rabbits get by 8 weeks, then you might want to be a little bit more iffy on that breeder, because they may not be breeding to get bigger meat rabbits. And you don't want a rabbit breed that isn't giving you big meat rabbits, because what's the point then?
You'll want to know if they're handled. If you expect to be able to handle your rabbits and really mess with them, especially for like care and grooming or just to be with you, and they've only ever been like maybe pet once or twice through a cage, chances are they are going to be, not only you're a new person, now you're handling them more, and you're going to risk some pretty good scratching.
So during this question, Donna mentioned the importance of knowing the vaccination status of your rabbits. Now this is helpful if you do plan to vaccinate, so that you can know that that's what your rabbits have already, but it's also really helpful on the flip side, because if you're in a situation like me and you don't plan to vaccinate, then it's more advantageous to get rabbits that haven't been vaccinated. So knowing their status one way or the other can be really helpful. Now, last but not least, here are some examples of some rabbits that you gave me. First, we have Amanda's beautiful red New Zealand. Next is Heidi's California. This is a buck. Then Dana, maybe it's Donna, has some Flemish Giants and a broken New Zealand. Now, one thing I learned from this is that a broken, I think, means that it has spots instead of one solid color. Now here are Kyle's Rex Duels, and the bonus one, this is a silver fox from Lindsay's group of rabbits. And oh, there they are all lined up. Here are Amanda's kits, some New Zealand, I'm thinking. But regardless of what they are adorable. Hey you, if you're enjoying this video, can you like it down below? Thanks. Okay, now I've got 2 action steps for you. One is to go to at least one of these women's channels down below and check it out. The second thing is, if you're wanting to follow me on my journey to work towards self-sustainability, go ahead and subscribe. So thanks for coming along. Next up, we're going to talk housing options for rabbits, and again, see some of your awesome setups. See you then.